Well, hello, my name is Brad Fain, and welcome to another edition of Living a Good Life. Today, we're going to be talking about how small business impacts our community and how they contribute to everybody in Prescott Valley living a good life. And there's no better person to do that with than Marnie Uhl, who's the president and CEO of the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Marnie.
Hi, Brad. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you for letting us invade your space here. We're actually in the Chamber headquarters
Yes.
of Small Business USA, Prescott Valley edition.
Absolutely. It's the hub right here.
Yeah.
Everything goes out from here.
Good. Well, before we dive into the Chamber and how the Chamber plays an essential role in our community and small business plays a role, I always like to let everybody know a little bit more about the person we're talking with. And I know you have a great history. You haven't always been the president of the Chamber your entire career. You had another career before this. So why don't you tell us a little bit like what you did before and how you made your way to Prescott Valley and the CEO of the Chamber?
You know, it's really true. If plan A doesn't work, it's plan B. And I think I'm on plan C, to be honest. At 22 years of age, I became a deputy sheriff with the LA County Sheriff's Department. So I spent 22 years as a deputy sheriff working there. And everybody says, how did you get involved in it? And I was at a crossroads in my life years ago. And I said, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, And so my dad was in law enforcement. He was a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department. And he says, they're hiring a lot of women now. What do you think about, considering a job in law enforcement? And I thought, well, okay. And at the time I was working as a medical assistant, it's like, and not really trained. It was just an office job. But I said, okay. And it was like 3 times the salary. And it looked like I was making a gazillion dollars. So I said, I think I can do that. But the testing process was really tough, physical, mental, psychological. But I went through all of the testing process and came out and graduated and immediately went to work at the women's jail. And then 22 years later, yes, I did retire. But I retired because I got married and we were going to move out of state. And so then we ended up moving to New Mexico. But Springerville, right on the state line of Arizona. So we were living in New Mexico mailing address, but our world was in Springerville, Eager, Round Valley. So I was there. And then I got bored because I was not really working. So there was an opportunity to work for the Chamber of Commerce. And I applied for that. And because I felt I had experience, and don't ever let anybody say volunteer experience doesn't count towards work experience. Because my experience in chamber work that I was able to use was because my mom had a business back in Temple City, California, and I joined the chamber with her to meet people and just you have a bigger circle of friends. And so I went to mixers and I was volunteer of the year because I put on their casino night and things like that. So when I went and applied for the job, they said, what experience do you have? And I said, well, I've done this and I did this and I knew you could do a newsletter and I knew you had networking events. And so they hired me. And so then from there, a year later, the director left and they offered me the position. And so, here 18 years later, 25 years later, because I've been here 18 years, 25 years later, I've been in that industry. So I really technically have been in the chamber industry in my plan B longer than my law enforcement career. Wow. But I think to that end, one complemented the other because it's so important to be able to deal with people in law enforcement. You do have your responsibilities, but a lot of it it's just dealing with people and knowing how to read situations and things like that. And I think that translates into the chamber industry where you're working with businesses and communities that are creating things that, and how you can help and be a part of it and problem solve. So I think from that experience, I was able to continue and I feel a good, successful career. 25 years, I think, is a pretty long time to be in the industry and in one place, 18. And do the things that I've been able to do. So
wow, I didn't know. I knew you were sheriff. I didn't realize you worked at the jail.
I worked just a multitude of assignments.
That must have been an interesting experience.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It really can. You learn how to deal with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so next time you see Marnie, just know she has that background so she can sniff out the BS when she sees it. She's probably heard a thing or two in her life, but it's like,
No comment.
I've heard that one before.
That was last career.
Well, so let's get back to small
Yes.
business in the Chamber of Commerce. So you've been here 18 years.
I know. When I started 2006, wasn't it an amazing time? We were growing and we were flourishing. The hospital was being built, the Mountain Valley Rehab, the arena.
Yes.
I mean, I signed the beam before it would go up. So it was all this exciting growth. And then, 2 years later, boom. We hit that recession and it lasted for how many years? And how many meetings did we go to, Brad, that had economists and said, okay, we're going to hang in there. We're going to do this. And it was a struggle of times. Business were struggling. The communities were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but
people were struggling.
yes. But sometimes in the hardest of times, and I felt this about our community and our business relationships, we came together to support one another, and I think that's when you work best together sometimes is in challenging times. Yeah. And we got through it, and then we, you come back on the other side and you start growing in. Because I'll tell you, my house was here and it went down to here. Exactly. And now it's back up here, so it's, and I said, like my dad said, that life is a roller coaster in a way. You're going to have ups and downs and up and down. How does it affect you is how you deal with it. And I think that's in a community. If you work together and support each other, then you're going to come out stronger at the other end, which we've done several times now. And look where we're at now. I think that, the infill is coming in, businesses that empty businesses are now being filled by new businesses. A lot of property. There's not a lot of properties available, commercials. So, we're looking pretty good right now. And I'm not going to say nothing can turn and change it tomorrow. I felt that way in 2020 when we, January, and we're all flush and happy and sassy and going good. And all of a sudden, the pandemic shut it down for, a year and a half, basically. And we lost business. Yeah. But again, that's another part where so many of us came together to work and support one another to get through that. How do we do that? And the most impacted businesses, were the ones that had the services on, gyms and salons and things like that. Your service industry struggled tremendously.
What was really interesting about that period is, at least for our company, when we were facing it, and I'm sure you had it times 10, but here we are, we're facing this pandemic. The government, for the first time, shut everything down. Things that people said could never happen. Banks were shut down, everything. How do I get to my money? How do I do this?
Right.
And I remember we did Zoom calls with all of our tenants, which is our business community.
And I sat in some of those because we're part of your family.
We were there saying, we don't know what to do. We've never been in a pandemic. We've never been in a shutdown. But what happened is the business community came together. And what was so cool about that is you got to see the different people, the different businesses. Just like, well, what about this? Yeah. What if we tried this? What if we did that? Remember we did the concerts?
Oh, yes.
And like we said, our community is tired of being shut down and told we can't do anything. So we had 2 bands going out in the parking lot and you could social distance.
Oh, gosh.
Remember all that?
I think, did we have 3? We had the front one over in front of where Gabby's is, and then we had one on the backside near Buffalo Wild Wings. Because we said, let's get everybody outside. We need to get the fresh air. Yep. That was so much fun.
Bring your car up and you could bring your cooler out. And Colt Grill, they had just opened. Talk about a challenge.
Yes.
They opened February, and by March they were shut down. They did a great takeout, and then all the restaurants and everybody rallied. Everybody was doing takeouts.
I remember I walked into Gabby's, and he had his little liquor thing, and he made a little outside liquor area so you could sit in the concerts, and you brought in some of the best bands too. I forgot about that. That was brilliant, and that was such a great day.
And so to me, that's an example about how business rallied for their survival on one level, but also bringing the community together, which made that, at least that day of that era, a better place to live in Prescott Valley, because we just said, the heck with it, we're not going to be shut down anymore.
We're not going to take it anymore.
Exactly. We didn't do this.
We're not taking it anymore. I liked it. We seemed like everybody came out. Hit my mic. Everybody came out for it too. Yeah. It was a good day, but that's how everybody was starting to get creative. And for us, we were a disseminator of information. you know, where you go for PPP loans, where you're going for the idle loans, where's that money sources, where are the resources? I was here every day at the office, you know, because I balance my staff, so you know, keep everybody separate, you know, because we're all going to come.
Keep the doors open. And,
yeah, well, we were shut, but. So somebody work in the afternoon, somebody work in the evening to keep, what, we're going to contaminate each other, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, but I was here every day and answering those phones with people calling and just looking for bare necessities, basic needs. Where's the toilet paper and stuff they couldn't find? And my heart broke, and I was there saying, I'm going to help you any way I can. I can deliver it, you know? So I made calls and found resources and places, and you know, that was a hard time. But again, everybody came together.
Yeah, that was the key.
Yeah. And
we couldn't live by rigid structures.
No.
You basically had to throw out the rules and regulations and like all these things and just say, okay, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
And we did. I mean, the biggest rule we threw out was you had to stay at home.
I know.
That was the federal government telling us that, and we just said, beep.
We're not doing that. No, it's true.
But our community didn't want it. And we thrived because of it. I think we're stronger because of it, because we showed how we could come together as a community through the business and bring the community together to help people get through whatever they were going through. Right.
And I watch businesses helping each other. You need this, I've got this, you know. I mean, they were helping each other too. You know, it's no longer competition anymore. It's just all let's survive. Yeah. You know, and so I think that was a real good indicator of that, and also hopefully we carry that on. And I think as PV in Prescott Valley, our businesses feel that way with each other, and we feel that and that's my philosophy of the chamber, is that we're going to keep promoting, and we're going to keep bringing you together. We're going to communicate. We're going to, you know, champion for you. We're going to help you move forward and create that common good in economic prosperity for everyone. Yeah. So whatever your needs are, you know, and it said, you know, and yes, you can call us for anything. We're going to find it out. We're going to help you. I feel we're problem solvers. We take care of people. We take care of things, and we take care of business.
So I think that's what's important, and why I wanted to visit with you today and the chambers, because, you know, we hear all these rumblings about how big we're getting and should we stay small. We want the small town, because the beauty of a small town is you know everybody, and you walk down the street and you can say, hey, Marnie, and whatnot. And I always hold that it's not the size of the community. It's the character of the community. I agree. And what you just spoke to me was our role as a chamber is to keep the business community of this character to where we're always helping each other out. And that's what I like about it, because I think we can keep adding more businesses. We can welcome new businesses and people to our community. And let's welcome them in such a way that they come into our character and our culture, and then they embrace it, and then it just keeps self-perpetuating itself. And we don't lose our character as a community.
But we have to. We need business to come in. Yes. First of all, a community will die without business. If everybody left, it's gone. You know, that community, people are going to move somewhere else because they can't get what they need. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for the college and the programming that they're advancing with their bachelor's programs. Huge proponent. I'm a huge supporter of Dignity Health, YRMC, and the growth that they're doing in the communities, bringing in more physicians and the localized clinics. So, you know, we've got one up going out in Viewpoint. That's keeping and helping people live in your community and staying. Yeah. So I've watched this say, you know, this business went out of town and the community died, you know, and so I don't want to see that here in Prescott Valley. No. And I think that we're still such a desirable place to live. We're such a family friendly, you know, I go to the parks. I take advantage of all the amenities. Family friendly community people want to live here, and they're going to want services. Exactly. Now, that's the whole thing with the internet right now is instant demand. And so if we don't have it here, they want it now, they're going to go someplace else.
They'll go look for it.
Exactly.
If they find a better place, they'll move on.
And what I'm trying to combat, and it's impossible to do that, but by our businesses being there and having those personal relationships you develop by doing business with a small business, and I can name a gazillion of them here, and well, not a gazillion in Prescott Valley, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Personal relationships with them, you're going to get that customer service that you don't get going on Amazon or one of those other sites. And I know that they have their absolute place, but start here first. Start here with your local jeweler. Start here with your, your local service provider. Start here with your local retailer. Then say if you finally can't get it, well, maybe you need it now. Well, maybe then you need to, look further. But right now, start here.
Absolutely. So speaking of small business, tell us, like, over all the years being in the chamber, the most inspiring story you've witnessed with a small business in the community.
Oh, one comes to mind, and you talk about it's probably a success story that you like to see, and it's in this business I've been familiar with since the beginning of the chamber here, and it's John Lotus and Auto Works. And if you're not familiar, they're located on Highway 69 by Navajo. It's a yellow building, and John, when I first met him, he had a mechanic shop. His auto shop was, I believe, on Florentine or Valley, small little place. And then he purchased some land over there and built his own place. So to me, that's growth. He went from one and he moved up. Then he added on, and then he added on again.
Wow!
So the growth that he's been successful in doing. He has an amazing product. In auto service, we all have cars. We all need auto service. Where do you go? But I specifically reference him not over any other auto service business in the community, because we have lots of them, and it's all personal preference. A lot of times it's personal relationships on why you continue to go back. But I think what I see with John and John Lotus and Auto Works, is that he's managed to grow and expand. And that to me is a successful story. Yeah. And he's been doing the right things, and he's survived all of the recession and the pandemic. So he's managed to somehow make it all work. And of course, he hires employees, so he's contributing to your local economy by giving good jobs and providing a great service. So I think, and I just speak to that because I see a lot of them. I'm happy when they pick Prescott Valley. I'm glad when they come into the chamber and say, I'm starting a new business here, and we get to see, why and how and what can we do for you. I like that, and being able to support them.
Welcome to the family.
Yes, I say that all the time.
Do you?
My thing is,
so that's what we do with our tenants. When we get a new tenant, we say you're part of our tenant family.
Yeah.
And welcome, and we give them a card, and we give them and we send them congratulations. We send them anniversary cards, 5 years, 10 years.
See, that's our chamber family. We do the same thing.
Nice.
We recognize their 1 year anniversary. Of course, I know I'm going to say, just shout out Afterglow Jewelers that moved in a year ago. Nice. Over there, over by Fry's, and we're going to go see them and celebrate their 1 year anniversary over there because, they've been a part of our family. But that's what I always say: welcome to the chamber family. And
so, a key component in living a good life in Prescott Valley is family.
And it doesn't have to be blood family. It's business family.
It's our business family, our chamber family, our tenant family.
Exactly.
But that's just a way of being that just welcomes people.
I think that if everybody approached how they live here like that, and it kind of be maybe a little. Some people wouldn't get so grouchy. Yeah.
So let's say you had all the power in the world. Marnie with the power. And you're the head of the chamber, so you're focused on small business.
Yes.
If there's one thing that you see impacts business the hardest, that keeps them from thriving or makes their lives difficult to provide for the community what they want to provide, and you could change it, whether it be a policy or something else, what would be the one, what would you come down upon and change to help small business?
I would take away, I think one thing that hurts small business is how easy it is to say negative things and put it out into the universe without strong basis of fact.
So social media.
I think
the keyboard wizards that are.
I just feel, and I see a lot of it, and I think that is unfair to business. Somebody might have a bad experience or a difficult experience. I don't care what you want to call it. Hello, at my age, I've had a lot of them, but I've never wanted to go hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's hurtful when reviews are made that can impact a business, and there's, oh, well, then you have 20 other people. Well, gosh, if that happened to you, Brad, I'm not going there. And maybe Brad doesn't like, he doesn't like sauce on his potatoes or something, and that's what they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think that I would want people to support small business and give them the chance to either make it right if they had an unpleasant experience, but to hold back on being negative in the reviews and the social media. I think that's very harmful.
That reminds me, treat people kindly and how you would want to be treated.
The golden rule?
Yeah, remember growing up with that? I do.
Oh, my mama taught me the golden rule. Oh my gosh,
You know it.
I'll tell you, Brad.
I heard that a time or two from my mom.
So my mama, I just love her. She's from Oklahoma. But anyway, because she's a lot of Southern things going on. But she told me, and this goes back to when I was starting the sheriff's department. So I'm a 22-year-old girl, 23-year-old girl going into law enforcement. Big career, big, what you do in law enforcement. My mom sat me down and talked. She says, please, this is good for you. I'm glad, I'm happy for you. Your career change, what you're going to do. She says, just don't let it make you hard. Always remember to be nice to people. My mama told me that, and here I'm going out to arrest people. But she always said, don't let it make me hard. Yeah. Because that changes you, and always be kind. Sometimes I had to be a little hard, and sometimes I wasn't so kind, but my general makeup in my soul is those words resonate with me, and that's how I live my life.
Good words to live by. But I think that ties into the people that are going to sit behind the computer, whether it's during the day or at night, and write a comment that could harm somebody, is to think about that.
Yeah.
You're being hard, or is this the way you would want to be treated if you had a bad day or something happened? And it's kind of like, I don't know, think twice before you send something out like that. Because once you hit send, it's gone.
Well, I have somebody that says, I think it says, do not send the emails until you've had your coffee. It's just a little things. Think twice. You can't take things back.
I don't know how many emails I've written at night, and then I save and close down, and then the next day I go read it before I send it out, and I'm like, ooh, we better strike that out. And
Yeah.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So be careful. Yeah.
And I just wish that, the people will just continue to support our small business community. Get to know your neighbors.
Well, it's essential to our community. Exactly. Without small businesses in any community, I mean, we always have the big businesses that some people love them, some people don't like them.
Right.
But the majority of people are employed by small business. And that's a fact. And
80% of business, small business.
Every community has them, and they are really the fabric that makes our communities what they are.
Right. Well,
so without them,
they're the ones with kids at the schools. They're the ones, going to the movies and going to our concerts.
Providing a valuable service for the community to be better, whether it's a health service or a restaurant food service or anything else, or a product. I mean, they're trying to make your life a little bit better by offering a product or service.
Exactly. And it's not easy.
No.
Business is not easy. They've got their hands full with,
they do.
Laws and restrictions and just what everybody else gives them. The government gives them.
Always changing laws. It's like what I like to say. This is how we used to do it. Now the rules have changed. Oh, what?
And that was last week.
Exactly.
No,
we can't do it that way anymore. Nope.
No. Well, you don't. No. But it's what it is. It's 2024. It's a different day, and we all have to be. Some people are more adaptable than others, but I think that you just have to realize that it's not about the now, and just what it's to me. It's about everything and what it's going to be. And I look back, and it's easy to say when you've been around a while, because like, I need it now, and everything's going on. And I look back and say, oh, that stuff just wasn't all that important back then.
Well, those darn cell phones have taught us that everything's instant gratification, instant, and we gotta.
I know.
Step back, take a deep breath, and relax. But you mentioned 2024.
Yes.
That's a big year for you.
It's a big year for the chamber.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in 2024 with the Prescott Valley Chamber, because it's a big year.
I know. It's the Chamber's 50th anniversary.
Wow. 50 years.
50 years.
Well, congratulations on that. That's a great accomplishment.
And I remember where I was in 1974, and I'm thinking, gosh, Chamber's a baby, but yeah, it was started out by a group, and I have the names that I've got the articles of incorporation. I've been playing with those a little bit just to try and track down some history on them, but the Lonesome Valley Businessmen's Association, but everybody knows Prescott Valley was started really it was business endeavor. Somebody came and was selling parcels of land. That's a business. So, it was really started with business people, and they came together to support one another, and they were doing programs and events to bring people to the valley.
Yeah.
And so then a year later, maybe they got wind of that we should be a Chamber of Commerce, and they changed the name to the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. But so it's a big year where
tell everybody. This summer, you have a big celebration. What's going to be happening this summer?
We're branding everything with our 50th anniversary. It's just we're really proud of that. We did a new logo once we move forward in 2025. That 50 will go away, and we're moving forward with a fresh new look again. So it's kind of like the 50 goes away, and then it's just that nice representative of Glassford Hill, but forward moving and active, So we're having our big grand gala on July 19th, and it's just a celebration of 50. We'll continue to have our Community Excellence Awards as part of that, because we feel that recognizing and honoring those individuals, businesses, and organizations in the community are vital to promoting the wonder that happens every single day that people are doing that nobody knows about.
Yes.
That's what I like. So unsung heroes are given an opportunity to get some special moments. And they'll have music and a special little golden raffle thing going on. And then it'll be a big celebration. But then everything else we're doing, Incorporation Day is actually March the 15th. 7 days of March 15th. March 15th was when actual Incorporation Day was for the Chamber. So we're going to have some cake here. It's spring break. We don't know how many people come by, but we're opening it up and say, come over, because this was the day that the papers were signed and stamped and said you're an official, you are now an official business organization in the state of Arizona. And then, we'll be having Prescott Valley Days. And that's also, we were talking about that yesterday. We do Prescott Valley Days, but it's actually a celebration of the town's incorporation, and they won't be 50 for 4 years, because you do realize that it's the businesses that got Prescott Valley started and probably put together those candidates that sat up and said, okay, this is going to be the first governmental entity, council, mayor that are going to move forward to get Prescott Valley incorporated. So I'm sure it was all
that's how it has to happen.
It was.
Right, you can't have a government first and then form a community, because the government needs the community to be able to exist.
Exactly.
So it has to be the people and the businesses that come first.
And so I'm sure they'll be celebrating the 50. But ours, this time I just love it because the theme for Prescott Valley Days is out of this world. Now, you can take that however you want. You might be a Star Wars fan. You might be looking at the mission to Mars. I'm total space geek, so I'm excited that I think it's going to be wonderful.
Twilight Zone? Remember those days?
I love those. I wasn't like scary movies, but I always liked that psychological intrigue that they messed with you. Yeah. So it'll be fun, and I think it's something. What I like about PV Days, and we've really pushed to make it even more of an family event, incorporating fun things for the whole community, whether it's cosplay or the run or, just a little bit of something for everyone. So, but it's called Out of This World. So I think it'll be a fun event. And then, of course, we'll have our golf tournament, and then we'll just finish out the year, but everything will be celebrating 50 years with the Chamber. So that's what we're doing.
So one of the themes we talk about a lot on this show is the design of a community. And the community really should be designed by the community. And we all have a voice in what we want to be. You could say when we grow up, or when we get there, we get to the next chapter of our life. And I think it's driven by the people, and a lot it's driven by the businesses.
Well, yes.
So give us your perspective of how the business community contributes to the design and craft of our community.
Well, they're making the financial investment in here. They're making an investment to build a quality of life for themselves, but in doing so, they also have employees that are that are working and then also living in that community and contributing to whatever area of their interests are, whether it's, raising children, having the school system, or parks and recreation and taking advantage of the parks. So I think that drives it, because that creates the community.
Yeah.
The businesses make sure that community is thriving. And as long as they are and employing people, your community is going to continue to grow, and you're going to see a result of that. Now, what's the culture of the community is how we support that. In our culture is, ours here is helping people, making a positive difference, moving forward, looking at how something, who was it said, I see things and ask why not? Was it Robert Kennedy? John F. Kennedy said that. I see things, and some people look at things and ask why. Look at things and ask why not. So what can I do to make? What do you need? What can I do to make you feel better? I think people need to educate themselves. If you live in this community, I think you need to educate yourself to what is our culture, what is our truth, and how.
My mind went to, when educate is know where we came from. Understand our history.
Yeah.
Because our history is so vitally important to our future.
Well, it's a foundation. It's the foundation of what we've built this on, and it's been so much relationship
Why
driven.
were those decisions made to do whatever that got us here, and then how do we go forward from there? And don't forget, and where I went with, as I was listening to you speak, I'm just thinking, yes, it's the business community that gave us an Italian restaurant. It's the business community that gave us maybe a play, a
theater,
an arcade, a theater,
movies.
It's a community that gave us a place to get our clothes washed. All those contributed to how different people want to live their lives, and without that, we wouldn't have it. And so it's that person or persons that said, I think we need this in our community, and they brought it.
And they invested in it. Because
they rallied the people around them to make it happen.
It's not I just show up and I open my doors. I've made a solid investment financially, and
emotionally.
Exactly. It's and I talk to them, and and the struggles, and it's finally got my doors open. We're finally going to do a ribbon cutting. Oh, another lovely success story that I just love, and I remember her walking in this office, and that's Jess Costa at Freedom Core Pilates, before she opened her doors. So she came in and she said, I'm going to be opening a Pilates studio. It's going to be such and such down the road, but I want to be a part of the chamber, see, work together. So she came to me, and then I watched her move and go. I was also a Pilates person. Yep. She opened her doors, was very successful. And then she outgrew her smaller location from 6 reformers and opened a bigger place. And she's still always full. And it's her investment in the business. And I know what it took for her to open those doors. I know what it took for her to expand. And it was a lot of equity, both physical, sweat, and it was also financial. And yet now she's very successful entrepreneur with that business here in Prescott Valley. And she brought something we didn't have. So she brought Pilates in an exercise program that we did not have. So she saw a need.
Helping people live healthier lives.
She saw a need, and she says, how can I do it? Yeah. And she did it. But it took a lot. She just didn't throw those doors open. She had.
I think people lose sight of that, how hard it is to open a business. And you hear the stats that most of them will fail within the first year, 3 years, 5 years. But those that succeed, how hard it is and how important they are. And I think that goes back to the message you left us with at the beginning of this, which is, I get it, but start local. See if you can find it here. And then if you can't find it here, then branch out to where you need to go to get it. But always look to see if you can support local first.
Right. And also businesses, not only that, but also continuing to stay open in this day and age, in this economy where minimum wage goes up and cost of services, delivery of service, cost of goods, everything is going up. Yeah. And how do they continue to keep doing business? They've got to raise prices. And everybody who complains about the price of some of the restaurants, I said, don't you go to the grocery store? Don't you see that something you paid $2 for last year, maybe a year and a half ago, but is now 4. I mean, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I look at it and say, gosh, this thing of Tide soap was $11 and now I'm paying $15 for the same size. So that's a struggle for them to keep their doors open, to keep, their prices are going up and keeping up pace with that and the economy and the cost of goods. So another struggle. And they do it though.
Yes.
They do it. So let's support them. Okay. Let's keep supporting our local businesses in the community.
Great.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. I thank them.
We're there.
They're the backbone and heart and soul of our community.
Every day. Yeah. Every day. Yeah.
Well, Marnie, it's been really great chatting with you.
Didn't realize you get what you get into.
No, you've been great.
I love, what
and
all
I
I
really
can say is
appreciate it because I think it's just important to get the word out about your role as the chamber and the president of the chamber and the CEO, but
Cheerleader.
also cheerleader. A lot of it, like people ask me what I do, and I'm like, well, cheer them on and get out of their way.
Exactly. That's a good one.
Good people will do great things if you don't interfere with them.
Yeah.
And you just have to stay out of their way. And I think it's the same with our business community because they are the heart and soul and the fabric of our community. And they are a big part of the design of our community. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have some of the things we all love if it wasn't for somebody in wanting to open a small business.
Right.
And it's not easy.
No.
And so we need to cheer them on and get out of their way and let them thrive.
And then support them.
Yeah, and support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure to be here. I can talk business. I can talk PV. I just love it here. I love our business community. There's no place I'd rather live, truly.
Great. Well, maybe we'll come back and visit you again.
Okay. Well, anytime. You're always welcome.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Living a Good Life. I'm Brad Fain, and we'll see you next time.